Each different bubble of reality is true.
A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma.
Nudge, nudge. It's the Holy Grail.
Improvise. Mysterious.
It's counter psychic intelligence.
Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important?
Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.
Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone to another Living the Mystical Life Daily live webcast. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Living the Mystical Life Daily live webcast is here once again for another incredible teaching. We are here to talk about living the mystical life daily, what it takes for you to find your living the mystical life daily. This last Tuesday, we used another meditation known as the Rainbow Meditation. A tremendous amount of people are getting all the positive actions out of it. We encourage you, if you are not signed up for the Living the Mystical Life Daily email list, go to the website, andrewbartzis.com, and go to the course page. You have two options, signing up for the emails list or buying the course. Also below you will be a big red button that says, yes, I want to enroll now. When you do enroll, you'll be getting the entire 6-week online course, and you will be getting 3 very special bonuses for over 25 hours of teaching material. The Solstice and Equinox course, as well as the Alchemy course. Each of these will teach you on your path to the mystical life, how to use crystals and bioelectric fields, how to understand the passing of the seasons and the movement of the stars, and what they mean to your cyclical development as an I am being using awareness to drive forward your hologram of understanding. When you do make that leap to the next level, you'll understand why we do these continuing webcasts. Because it is the out loud, name it to claim it system of practice with repetition that makes illumination that gets you on your journey. Over the last 15 webcasts that I've now done, I have had so many people come to me in private and how much these webcasts are helping them to the next level. And that's what today's about. I'm going to be showing you how to consciously apply, once again, the sacred art of living your mystical life daily as the out loud, name it to claim it system without giving your power away. This is not a regular Adventures into Reality call-in show. We ask that everyone respect and that when you choose to call in, you're asking about the practice of living the mystical life daily. There are times that the nature of the question is about the practice, and that's understandable. But please be respectful for everyone else who wants to go on to the next process of learning the out loud, name it to claim it system. So for each of those callers that are calling in, I'm going to be asking you, have you practiced the meditations? What is your experience? That is the forewarning. Because many, many people are asking for an instant gratification teaching. And today, I'm not an instant gratification teacher. I'm not your keeper. I'm not your brother. I'm not your mother. I'm not your father. I'm not your guru. I'm simply a person that is pointing out sacred discipline versus sacred recreation, perfection of your own unique being through the out loud, name it to claim it system. Here is an opportunity for information to not overload you, for you to change the point of view that is around you, because we all have parts of us that do not want to succeed. Here is where you put those fears to rest, take over your sympathetic and parasympathetic, put them to proverbial sleep, so you, the I am presence, is fully in your body now, so that you may understand, I am not here for an instant gratification teaching. I am here to internalize and externalize my points of view so I may be fully in my presence. I need not travel to India or to be in a cave or a monastery to learn this. For this is the modern world, the spiritual enlightenment. And what other teachers are, that is their way. You people have come here because you're looking for your way, your own individual way that isn't imprinted by a mystery school or anything else that's giving their stamp of approval. You have your own stamp of approval. And when you come to Living the Mystical Life Daily, it is your daily. Here is a blueprint for you to go to the next level of name it to claim it system. the consciousness strike. That is the piece de resistance of what is going on with self-illuminated masters who are aware of the degradation and de-evolution of our system of domination and control. Those self-illuminated masters who want to challenge the system at the next level, it is the consciousness strike that will take you to the next personal layer of illumination. It is the reason I wrote it, because we are at a time where it takes self-illuminated masters to deprogram the world around them, as well as the world that is the global infrastructure of distraction. There is a potential of creating our own individual energetic insurgency of one, going to the sacred geometry systems and piece by piece, lie by lie, take them apart of a false light heartogram and replace them with heart space truth and knowingness. That is the truth and essence of the consciousness strike, to separate our experience with everything that is forcing evolution on our presence. We have the divine, co-creative, organic ability to discover our own evolution and do not need to be forced by other streams of light run by an ideology. Run by an ideology. Many of you have that dream that you want to change the world, make an impact, be a healer, a teacher, or make it to the next level. My goal for this webcast is like two types of peoples. Those that are out of mediocrity and those that want to do the great work. Those that are out of mediocrity, you will learn what it takes to conscious application of the sacred. And if you don't do it, it'll be your own journey into why you don't do it. And for those of you who are at that next level that want to do the great work, it'll be about self-healing and self-nurturing. For that is the greatest thing you can do at this time to help this planet and all species kind existing and coexisting here. You'll be able to understand your limitation so that you can see the unlimited point of view. You'll learn about what perception and deception filters are. During my life growing up, I was faced with every kind of obstacle you could potentially see in the unseen world. Things continuously projecting at me devaluation or overvaluation, until I shut them all out and went on my own inner heart space journey. There's where I discovered sweat lodges, discovered the power of prayer, and took it to the next level for my own personal evolution that was separate of what was projected at me since the day of my birth. There is where self-illumination meant something to me. Through the mystical experiences I generated on my own, with my own prayer format, combined with the life force and process that I had had since the baseball game, where my entire skill sets was revealed to me in a moment of a bottom of the ninth inning home run. Its own little unique mystical story within itself that has propelled me forward into worldwide recognition as Andrew Bartzis, the Galactic Historian. When I was growing up, I didn't know what the Galactic Historian really meant. To me, I thought I was going to be a news reporter or a paper writer, because back then in the 80s and the 90s, papers were king and the internet didn't exist. Then once the internet came around, YouTube stars came around, and the truth of the conspiracy and self-help and consciousness spirituality industry began to reveal themselves in plain open English to everyone that they were all related. The external struggles became internalized. And once I etched my way out of my own eternal struggle and externalized what was external and internalized what was my internal process, I opened the new opportunity for myself. A dual journey into the singularity that is me. That dual journey into the singularity of me was hindsight and foresight mastered at this moment of now. What is hindsight and foresight now? It is something that is beyond even mystical. Before it is a interpersonal relationship with your ability to transverse time itself. Our memories are different frequencies of time. And now you have that journey. The journey to use hindsight and foresight as an experienced I am master of the now. What is an I am master of the now? You aren't allowing the past or the future to empathically or precognitively affect you. You have exited the eternal struggle and entered a moment of no time, so you can engage your higher frequencies of hindsight and foresight. Hindsight, to know the emotions of the past, depolarize and decharge them for the memories for when you go back into time that will no longer affect you. Conversely, foresight is not precognition. It is knowingness. Knowingness of your place in Great Mystery's plan, your knowingness of how heart-space truth gets you from moment to moment. It is expansion combined with the understandings of the past. So the experience you can find new territories into the undiscovered country of your own soul, with the great willing journey to say, I want to explore this undiscovered country as my own consciousness explorer. I shall not allow conflicts of the past experiences to hold me back. I shall look at what I have achieved through the telling of my own story to my own ceremonial fires, so I may know thyself in the most levels, so that when I begin spiritual journeys, transformation is an experience of transcendence, just like hindsight and foresight. Contemplate that. Powerful teachings at this beginning of the Living Mystical Life Daily. I am often asked, what does it take to be able to do this? Conviction, focus, desire, joy, and happiness. That is what makes me anchored and grounded. The people that are around me, my producer Robert, my team, Debbie is in the chat room now, all of those that help run the seen world Galactic Historian, as well as all those in the unseen world, the guides and the guardians. They are equally a part of my life, just as everything else. From perspective, that which is projected. How do you do that? How do you do that? Knowingness. I've engaged hindsight and foresight in my own ceremonial telling of my own story, that it's not about precogniting my future, it's knowing. So many of you want to leapfrog to the skill of precognition, the skill of telekinesis. You are not ready until you take up the own mantle of your own responsibility, use sacred discipline, self-healing and self-nurturing to raise your frequency above what was the past, so hindsight engages simultaneously with foresight, so you can know the next part of your journey, that you can go through the tunnels of your heart and discover what is a blockage or what is an enhancement. So many people on the journey run into a moment that is an actually enhancing moment, and they're afraid of it and call it a blockage because you do not know the difference, because you are so new to your own interpersonal journey and wanting someone to share your interpersonal journey. It is the alone journey into the self-healing and self-nurturing. There are times we share part of it, but it still remains you transforming and transmuting and transcending your inner self, etching your way out of your eternal struggle, separate of everyone else. So no matter what level you're at, understand that. Separation to singularity, not separation to duality. Many of you understand you cannot do all these rituals and ceremonies in a modern shamanic world. One of the things of living the mystical life daily is to name it, to claim it, whatever works in the moment. It is an a la carte system. If you are unable to use an outdoor fire, you have a gas grill you can cook burgers on, and then consume your own prayers. Many of you are going, wow, why didn't I think of it? And others are still afraid that someone might hear your prayer as you're cooking a burger or boiling a pot of soup. Those are projections, and you must intimately and honestly look at yourself and say, what is stopping me from doing the MacGyver shaman prayers? Where I've got my outdoor gas grill, I've got an outdoor fire, heck, I've got a little hot plate I can put a pot of water on and pray over it. Are you still afraid of doing that? Are you still afraid of the projections? This is what stops most of you from joining the online course and getting access to all the other teachings. Your fear of ceremony. Your fear of doing it for yourself. For you might just discover the undiscovered country of the consciousness explorer within you. Many of you want to become healers, teachers, speakers, psychics, but you must have sacred discipline to get to that next level. It applies to whatever you're doing, whether you're a homemaker, college student, business leader, or healer, wherever you are in your life journey. In the past, you were told to isolate yourselves in caves and monasteries and achieve oneness with the world. That was the past. In our modern world, it is hard to perform those ancient practices, to find the caves and the monasteries that don't have ambulance sounds at the earshot 24 hours a day, that doesn't have airplanes flying over it. You as an individual must determine how to syncopate, synthesize an expression where the inner shaman within you could shut off a moment of time and all the projections, internal and external, attached to it, so you can go through your expansion process, your knowingness process, by using the practices, rituals, and expressions that apply to today. What is today's expression? You've come to this Living the Mystical Life Daily webcast, looking for inspiration, creation, ways to expand your journey. For those of you that are ready to up your journey one little inch, we're going to be having a little special teaching at the end of the show today. We're going to be playing this rainbow meditation again. And I'm going to have a conversation about it just before I start it, about understanding what it takes to write yourself those. That rainbow meditation is a little over 2.5 pages, 1,000 words. I now give you the 1,000-word challenge. Can you write 1,000 words that's about self-healing and self-nurturing yourself with the intention of reading out loud and hearing your own voice and discovering the level of your own mastership? Many of you are quivering at that right now. But those experienced in this system, their creative juices are flowing. That is the difference between a beginner and an advanced student. We are cooking a recipe of self-illumination here. Some of you don't like onions. Some of you love garlic. We're a community of spiritual chefs here, creating inspiration, creation, and dreams. That's what this webcast is. To enhance your learning, for you to discover the spice of life, the taste that drives forward your hologram to say, I'm ready for the next opportunity of living my mystical life daily, to use my power of choice so that the great and grand legacy of passing it on to myself moment to moment. For last week you could have taken a moment and said, next week me, here is the legacy of all the prayers that I've had through ritual and ceremony. Take up this legacy and torch of the I Am and drive forward the hologram to create change. With your awareness syncopated with your present and presence that's potent, because you've used the blueprint of living the mystical life daily, your own version, to change your perspective. So fresh points of view constantly are there, so you may perceive your reality without the limitations of expression in any way, shape, or form. Now that was a special little one. I want to thank my team that assisted me with putting together a unique script where all I had to do was grab 1 or 2 lines from 1 or 2 places. One of the unique skill sets that I have is, if I speak it out loud, I can generally remember 99% of it. And this little script that I'm using is some of my most unique lines spread over 4 years of presentation. And then there are times that I'm not even looking at the teleprompter and I'm just engaging each and every one of you. I've been asked, why do I use a teleprompter? Professionalism. That is my level of preparation in the 3D matrix for you, which also is the level of presentation in the 6-week online course, so that you have somebody looking direct at you, being your coach, your teacher, and your friend in that moment where you're watching that video, passing on you the essence of the experience so you may take your journey to the next level, so that your perspective can grow. That is why I do the shows. This is why I do these webcasts. That's why I do these live events. Last year's live event was a special event. People from all over the world assembled in this unique Dreamtime experience. Some had never heard of me before, and others had been around a long time. The uniqueness of what was spoken, the 8 meditation teachings, the heart meditation, Grove of the Patriarchs and the Matriarchs, learning the connections to spiritual photosynthesis, galactic and universal time, how to understand the galactic groove of time, the universal groove of time, and auditing your experience in service and light. The advanced dream world clearing, the AI clearing, the soul family reunion, sanctuary of all souls. To understand the seen and the unseen world are but 3 simple secrets. We live in a world of duality. Expectations create limitations. And it's not about what you think, it's about what you believe. Those 3 secrets, those 3 paths to self-illumination are of what's been hidden from us over and over and over again. Just like the discipline. If true concepts of discipline were brought to us as young children and not imprinted to us, and we made the natural organic choice to engage discipline, to engage the frequency of love, our society would be vastly different. We now struggle to share the common moral code of do no harm to any sentient kind. So many, when they hear that statement, ideological theory pops up in their mind and they debate. Debate is matrixical. Debate is the 3D matrix. There is no 3D matrix in 4th dimensional unlimited space. Theories are proven, not left open-ended. The pontificating philosophers who must defend their ideology are just pontificating philosophers. They are not putting into practice what they preach in any way, shape, or form. And that's why they live in a duality. That's why expectations run their reality. And that's why their placebo is driving them to be a zealot, a martyr, lost into their limited point of view. Now I want to take our first caller.
Next caller will be Michelle Reed.
Michelle Reed, are you there?
I'm here, Andrew.
How are you doing today? You're breaking up.
Oh, no.
I hear you now.
Not again.
There you are. I can hear you now.
How are you?
Yes. How are you doing today, Michelle?
I am so good, Andrew. I'm quivering with excitement to be on this call with you. I cannot tell you.
So what kind of questions do you have for the Living the Mystical Life Daily webcast? Have you been able to do the guided meditations?
Yes, I have, Andrew. I've done your heart meditation, and I've actually made it my own in Sweat Lodge. Beautiful experience.
Wonderful.
And I've done your shaman's death and your communion and union revocation.
Yep.
Which one has, I just need to...
Which one has been the best one for you to share about?
Ooh, I want to share them all.
Well, please do. That is what this is about. Letting people understand your experience.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm in a shamanic group, actually, and I'm busy typing out your walk to the river to a dear sister that's going on a 4-day vision quest with a feather and a blanket very soon. And when I listened to that, I thought I really needed to gift that to her, because it would really aid her in those 4 days on the mountain with Great Spirit.
Beautiful.
But Andrew, my questions, I have many. So,
okay.
Well, I have this wonderful and very honoring and privileged opportunity to be speaking to you. My first question is about myself, and it's about my galactic history, but also it's about my relationship with tobacco and tabacito, as we call it, which I could say to you, please help me see something about my addiction, but it's such a deep relationship that I've had for the last, I started smoking when I was 14 and I'm now 48. And I've tried many times, many times to stop abusing. It's such a sacred plant, you know, such a sacred offering. But at the same time, it has led me to so many facets of healing within myself and opened so many doors to becoming more self-illuminated.
Okay.
So
let me work on.
wondering if there's anything.
I'll work on it because there are a lot of people that smoke. First thing first, I smoke. I have been on and off smoking since I was 19. And I can see the judgments immediately coming, and those are your judgments and your projections. And to all those people judging right now, I break contracts, vows, and agreements with you and choose not to be your teacher. For you are not about smoking. You don't understand what the sacred plant is, was, or will be. And until such a time as others choose to perceive our point of view, whatever judgments they have are projections that remain in your frequency. That is your main issue with tobacco right now. You're being driven to it because you innately know the world is judging it in such a negative way that there's something about it you must keep within your frequency. Okay? I face this every day as part of the medicine that it presents, as well as the addiction side of what it presents. First thing first, Are you smoking all natural tobacco and rolling your own, or are you smoking the ones out of the box?
Oh, no, I stopped the box ones many years ago. I've been rolling my own for many years now.
Okay.
And it's organic, yeah.
Okay. So you're doing that right. How many would you say cigarettes you roll a day for yourself?
Maybe 10.
Okay, that's nothing.
About 10.
That's nothing. Rolled cigarettes versus pack cigarettes. So those 10 cigarettes, because they're all natural, that's maybe equivalent to 2 regular cigarettes out of pack, nicotine-wise. Yeah. You're just consuming 2 cigarettes worth of high volume of nicotine, you know, over a period of 10. That's what you're transmuting it to. So look at the time of day that you are smoking. That's the first process to understanding what is addiction versus the need of the sacred medicine itself to assist the journey. Now, one of the reasons people had tobacco on them was because you could easily mix it with water and have a bug repellent. Okay? Okay. Whether it's to save a plant that's being eaten by moths or aphids, that was a special plant that was sacred energies, that was blooming in a certain time or area. There are hundreds of other expressions. Tobacco is used as an offering of energy and medicine. Oftentimes, some of the cigarettes I pre-roll aren't intended to be smoked. They're the offerings. You light it up, you put the prayer smoke of intention through, and you leave it for the ancestors. Have you ever done that?
Yes, I've given many offerings of tobacco in the work that we do.
So why don't you try? Why don't you try rolling a cigarette with the intention that it stays on your body for 5, 6, 7 hours, and then you light it up, take 1 puff off of it, and leave it to the ground for the ancestors as an offering for those ancestors resolving their issues with tobacco. Because here is where the prayer-based you can think, wow, if that thing's on my body for 6 hours, what are all the little micro prayers I could add to it? Or actually put it in your hand and faux light it as you are giving it wisdom and intent of what this is doing for you. So that the addiction is understood as a sacred expression. So that the sacred expression can release as addiction.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, one of the things about tobacco, it is a stimulant. Oftentimes when people use tobacco for a long period of time and combine it with coffee or coca or anything else, cigarettes can have the reverse effect on you. Are you one of those people that has to have a cigarette and then goes to sleep? Just before you go to sleep?
Yeah, probably am. It's probably one of the last things I do at night, yeah.
Then that is an addiction habit you want to break.
Yes.
That the one thing you learn about today is if you can break the cigarette before you go to bed. Give yourself at least 90 minutes to 2 hours from your last puff on a smoke before going to bed. The longer, the better.
Okay.
Okay? And then the first thing when you get up in the morning, do you how fast do you have to have your cigarette before your day starts?
Well, it's varied. There are times where I do quite a lot before I roll a ciggy. But recently I've been getting up early to try and catch some of your shows at 4 in the morning.
Yes.
So then I smoke, yeah. So it varies, that one, Andrew.
So chart your course on this. Take a notice of, am I an hour after I wake up, an hour and 45 minutes? What is my peak limit before my day is too much, before I have to have a cigarette? Okay?
Yeah.
Because this will determine the rate that the addiction drives your sympathetic and parasympathetic. So smoking is an oral fixation also, beyond the gratification, the actual gratifying process of what the medicine creates in that moment. Okay? The rolling is a sympathetic and parasympathetic experience of a potential future. When you get the cigarettes in the box, it's an instant gratification process that has taken the sacredness out of it. People are asking in the chat room, American Spirits All Organic is one of the best tobaccos out there, as well as going and finding a local tobacco farmer that has, 7 and 9 or 10-year cured tobacco and learning to smoke that. Because again, it has 1/10 the amount of nicotine in it compared to what's in the box of cigarettes you're buying. Because in the box, they add nicotine and tar to the tobacco. Okay? Got to process what the big cigarette companies are doing. Okay? And then there's the original versions of tobacco, which was a ground powder that was put in a special water pipe. Okay? That's a whole different layer of expression here. But for you, before you go to sleep, you break that, that's the most important. When you wake up, that's your charting your course of how the stimulant is going to affect you and how there are certain times of day you are using a stimulant as an appetite suppressor. Because that's what tobacco does. It suppresses your appetite. That's why it is used in sacred ceremonies where they're going 7, 10, 12, 15 hours. They can suppress their appetite and not have their stomach turn into knots. Be able to keep focus. So can you see how you use it as an appetite suppressant?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I can see that.
Those 3 things that I just talked about, if you apply your sacredness to just the observance of those and take mental and physical notation, is where you'll be able to chart a course where it's no longer an addiction, but your sacred process of using the medicine for its intended purpose, while balancing yourself, knowing that I can easily abuse it, but today is not one of those days.
Beautiful.
Okay. So before you were saying about you used the consciousness strike, how has that worked for you?
Well, I've only done it once, Andrew, because I know listening to your shows, you've been talking a lot about it, and when I did the revocation, I I was vibrating. It's so many points of it.
Right.
And it resonated, you know, as so many of your teachings have. When I first found you 2 years ago or so, I think it was 2 years ago. So I'm only just diving deeply back into your teachings because when I found you and I found your, I think it was your Mount Shasta interview, I dosed up on about 20 hours of you speaking. And then I got distracted, but you've come back into the frequency now. And I regard you as one of my teachers now.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for all that you do, and all these free call-ins and all the hours and hours. I recently became a member as well. All the hours and hours of beautiful medicine that you gift us with, because I can name it and claim it and make it my own and use it in the medicine that I offer here on the tip of Africa.
From the tip of Africa. That's a beautiful point of view. I'm on the tip of the Puget Sound near Mount Rainier, and we are connected by this unique internet. So can you imagine if people, let's say 20 people in ceremony, were all using the consciousness strike? Now, you've had many experiences, I can tell that. I want you to share with the audience what your point of view would be if there were 12 practitioners who are able to use their fire ceremony medicine energy using the collective consciousness strike. What do you potentialize it as?
I'm trying to find the words.
Okay.
Yeah, I think what you're saying and what's happening in the world with this technology and bridging these, you on Puget Sound, which I've been to, by the way, with my teacher, and here I am on the tip of Africa. I think all that's happening presently is a calling forth of such powerful energy. Yeah, I'm trying to, you know, we do so much ceremony and prayer, and I know that there's so many shamans. It's the age of shamanism, really. Yes, it is time. Bring forth the teachers. So
it would unify the. It would, in my expression, it would unify the ancestors. Okay, because that's really what it's about: is giving the ancestors authentic internal and external instructions that say, enforce equal exchange, equal co-creation, non-competition, non-hierarchical order, non-separation, non-duality, I am dreaming self beings, light body DNA standing, breakaway DNA civilizations of one, expressing their unity with their prime source of source stream. Right there is the shamanic encodement of unity. And when the shamans, the individuals, begin to understand the woven teachings, spider wove within those teachings itself, to remind us of the great layers of the dream weave coming together here, is where you'll be able to have multidimensional ceremonies.
Wow, Andrew, that's mind-blowing and so very pertinent and apt that you mentioned the grandmother spider, the ancient weaver.
Yeah.
It was one of my questions, actually, because she visits me very often.
The grandmother spider, it visits the Living the Mystical Life daily teachings quite often. In the 6-week online course that culminates into what's known as the Sacred Cave, where the individual experiencer, which is those that are going through the course, have an opportunity to speak to the grandmother spider and weaver, who weaves the light strings and light lines. You've learned of the spider earlier in the course, where it's about helping you understand the uni-worlds and the original alphabets that were formed through the knowingness of spider that was dreaming the dream, as well as the chrysalis of the butterfly, how to weave webs around yourself, all different types of dreamweaver frequencies. The grandmother spider represents the epitome of the weaving frequency. It has transcended the human expression of spider. It is all web-creating entities. Okay? When we get to that level of web creation of ourself, we understand the web that is created around us. And Grandmother Spider is teaching you at this very moment what weave is around you, what weaves you around you, and what are you weaving with what's weaving with you. Interwoven into the dreaming experience of this world that has layers and separations that are not layers and separations, but patterns to see if one has eyes to choose to see. That is always the message of the spider. For those with eyes to see will see. For those that eyes that do want to see, it is just another line in creation, on scenic journey to your evolution. When you choose to see the pattern that the spider is weaving in the moment of the dream weave, you get an unlimited glimpse, a mystical experience in the moment in which the spider's web has caught you and brought you to the ends of creation and said, now what? What will you remember? How will you once again walk these fine lines of creation as a sovereign being, using the mystical experience to move forward your hologram of sovereign reality, no longer being an unsovereign being who's walking the unsovereign lines? That is a spider's message, woven throughout the course. The great teachings of the whale people, reminding us in song how to weave through our oral traditions and histories. The fox, the turtle, okay? And the great mystery itself. Great mystery is encoded into our DNA, the entire process of self-illumination, if you should choose to engage it. Now, there are many people that are on the path that get lost in the ritual and ceremony, and they don't have the level of fun. Let me ask you this question. In all the years that you've been doing this, if it wasn't fun, would you still be doing it?
Absolutely not.
Okay. What makes it fun for you? Even in those serious moments where you've got to alchemize some dense energies.
I just think one of my mottos in life, Andrew, is, you know, to be the highest frequency of joy, the hummingbird, you know, fluttering around, forwards, backwards, upwards, downwards. As you know, in Washington State, there you get your hummingbirds. Just sipping on the sweet nectars of life, you know. It's my purpose in life to enjoy this life.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
How do we,
I've had much fun.
how do we pass that on as the essence of teachers? That if you aren't having fun doing it at some level, even if it's afterwards in hindsight, you realize no matter how serious you were, desaging your house, dehaunting a person, it was still fun for you at the end.
Yeah.
Okay? Again, pass on that essence to all those that are listening. What does it take for you to see fun in these sacred discipline practices? Because if it isn't, you're in the wrong webcast. Just as the giggle says.
Sorry, Andrew?
I said, just as your giggle was saying, if you're not having fun with it, this is the wrong webcast.
You've got to be playing.
Yeah.
You've got to be playing.
Gotta be
you know,
playing.
it's the teaching of the South Shield. Coyote. Don't
Coyote,
forget
exactly.
The inner child.
The Hayoka comes in many forms and many shapes.
Yeah. Be able to laugh at yourself. Yeah, of course we get serious. Of course we have serious moments. But I think one of my medicines is to share the joy, you know, and go, okay, so I fucked up. It's all right. Hey, you know, it's I'm just gonna learn from that and go easy on myself. It hasn't always been that way. But I've been learning to reconnect with that inner child, you know. It's a teaching on the medicine wheel. Laugh at yourself, and you know, in those moments of deep density, it's okay.
Right. I had
you
one.
know,
I had a teacher, a Hayoka teacher. This was I've never shared this process. I was visiting another group of practitioners in another native frequency, but the group that I was with would regularly go and visit and do stuff. They had a dancing group and stuff. And I happened to go and visit a place at a time where randomly several Hayokas from 7 different tribes assembled on one particular sweat lodge event. Have you ever been around 7 Hayokas who didn't know they were all coming together at a person's they don't know sweat lodge event? Can you imagine the chaos that was there? Okay.
Oh my word.
Oh, no, these people were intentionally trying to trigger, but the shamans and the practitioners knew that. Okay? There were some lines that we could say were crossed, but they were crossed with a level of jesting to break the seriousness that was surrounding a prayer ground that didn't need that serious frequency around it. There are times we as practitioners are so serious we become a fortress, and a prayer ground is not a fortress, is it? In a sense, these 7 Hayokas came with wrecking balls to the seriousness of prayer. Okay? It got to a point where certain things were uniquely said to the different people with their medicines, and they finally broke down in laughter. In laughter, in such unique laughter. And then this is where the uniqueness of what Hayokas were teaching through stories of their blunders. Okay, they're pure-on blunders, going into a sweat lodge thinking I can outpray the master, and damn, I didn't outpray him. Storytelling took over. Humorous storytelling took over. And what was going to be a weekend sweat lodge simply began a massive round table of sharing of stories. Okay?
Wow.
The sweat was done at like 4 o'clock in the morning, for we allowed the seriousness to break away and allow it to just flow. Just plain flow. Okay? We can do this in our own world. So many people are afraid to break the seriousness. Because if I break the seriousness, I'm not serious anymore. I'm not in sacred discipline. You can be in pure-on, razor sharp focus in sacred discipline and still be laughing your ass off.
I hope.
Exactly.
Oh, beautiful, Angie. Thank you. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
And on that note, I want to say, I think you're really cute. You have a really cute laugh.
Thank you, thank you. All right, darling, I've got to move on to the next caller. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Andrew.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you so much for your time and all that you do. Much love.
Namaste. Yes.
Okay, our next caller is from Corvallis, Oregon area.
Corvallis, Oregon. Are you there?
I'm here. Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome. And what is your name?
My name's Jennifer.
Hello, Jennifer. How you doing?
Hi. I'm fantastic. I'm so happy to be speaking with you today. I've been following your work. I first saw you, your interview with Sean Stone, and I believe it was called The Buzzsaw.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the missing link. That's what I've been searching for. I'm getting some answers, so it was really, really exciting. But I've been on a spiritual journey for like the last 4-5 years, and now I've been in a process of doing the hard work, like, you know, acknowledging and working through patterns of behavior and family patterns and old karma and healing unresolved emotional wounds. Wounds. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. I can't believe I got through. So please forgive me for getting overly excited. But anyways, I've been doing the hard work, learning how to, meditate, ground. But now I'm getting ready to incorporate some of your teachings. I have not done your meditations. I have listened to some of your live shows where you do the revocations, and some of them really resonate with me. And then I also say them out loud as you're saying them out loud.
Okay.
They're very helpful, and I, feel the release. So I know I've been guided to the right place. So anyways, now I'm in the process of incorporating some of your teachings into my daily life on a very serious basis. I'm at a point now where I know that doing the work, the unresolved emotional wounds, the dealing with, certain family members and family patterns, I'm aware of it now. So now I'm at a spot where it's like I'm in the boxing ring, and it's like the universe is putting them in front of me, real life, and it's my job to stay in peace and not engage in the duality, and that's been really hard to do, but I'm doing it. But I'm at a point now where I need to incorporate tools and really get serious about ceremony.
Okay. So what does serious about ceremony really mean to you?
What it means is that an active daily practice of meditation, of reading the revocations that I feel called to, about sitting with, going out in nature and sitting and connecting to Mother Earth, about staying connected to my higher self, but mostly not engaging in duality. We're constantly bombarded with all the negativity that's happening in the world, and I need to, I'm working on redirecting that energy back to do you
not
actually engaging in that energy.
Do you have a space that you have been able to set aside for this practice?
Yes, I do. I do have a space where I can do that. But the issue, well, it's not really an issue. I had to go through it. I've been so bombarded with doing the inner work that I haven't been able to really focus, or I haven't taken the time to focus on ceremony. But now I'm being called to do that in a big way.
Okay, so you're going from a state of unfocused resolution from heavy thinking and processing to going into a focus. This is this pendulum swing you're talking about.
Yes.
So when the pendulum inevitably swings from one side, it inevitably swings back. So my first piece of advice to you is know that a pendulum is going to continue to swing until you put your hand up and stop the pendulum from swinging.
Okay.
So there will have to be a delicate balance of what is ceremonial time and what is your continuing of process time from what the old experience is, until such a time as you can begin your processing during meditative ceremonial times and no longer do recreational self-learning processing, because that is where you're at right now, recreational at it. And that's what it took for you. You had enjoyment of working through your crap, okay? That's why it was a recreational process until such a time, you know what? I've had enough good experiences from dealing with my own crap. I want to go to the next level.
That's me.
Okay?
That's where I'm at.
Then you need to make an actual transition ceremony where the first thing you're doing is you're creating a prayer that says what was recreational processing and healing is now becoming serious, sacred healing and processing. And that's your opening prayer. That's going to signify how far in your journey. I'm sure that this prayer will evolve more and more. It may be 5 pages, it may be a page, it may be 50 pages. Okay? You may just need to do the creation of it, which gives something to soothe your soul. Because that's what you need right now, is soul soothing. You know the wounds are there, and you know you'll take care of them one by one, piece by piece. And if you can take care of a bunch at a time, you will. But until such a time they're all gone, you still need some soul soothing.
Yep.
So,
can I?
Sure.
Am I interrupting you?
No. Go ahead.
Can I ask you a question? If someone, what I've been dying to ask you is, if someone books a personal session with you, well, let me backtrack for a minute. I hear you speak a lot about craniosacral therapy and deep pressure massage and how important that is to move the energy out of your body. If someone books a personal session with you, do you still recommend the craniosacral therapy as well as the deep pressure massage if needed, or do your gifts allow you to move a lot of that out?
Both. So there are some people that their energies are so dense, it would be not correct to move it out fast. And it's part of their own journey to seek help so that it comes out at the right rate. Because traumas aren't created over one day. They're created over years of ignoring them. And this is the type of healer that I am. Everyone at their own pace, at their own journey. So there are times that the healings that I do in my private session clear out 90 to 95%, but there's still something the individual must do, which is the program itself of not bringing it back. That's why I recommend craniosacral, because it goes into the trauma itself and the cellular structure of the synapses, where the echoes of the program stay alive. In our fascia, that keeps our body tight, that doesn't allow fluid exchange. So there are a variety of things that go on in the private sessions that are full-on de-haunting to full-on angelic awakening, visions that have great realizations. Each person has come away with what they put into it. Okay? What is it that you're putting into it? I have something I want to know. There are those that come that want to know their galactic history. Others will want to know about business. Others who just want to talk about living in the present and the ceremonies that I can do. I create these tailored recipes for individuals to take and use and to apply to themselves. A lot of times in private sessions, it's people that are like you, right on the verge. And I'll give them a 3 or 5 week recipe, or a 7 or 10 week recipe, or longer, that helps you determine through your own journey how much of an experience I really want. You know, what I'm doing in a lot of these recipe type scenarios, it's not about the salt, the pepper, the garlic. It's about the zeal, the drive, and the vigor to do them so that the salt tastes better, the garlic adds perfection, and all of the little interpersonal experiences that are trying to distract you from doing that, you simply see as the system's game, in which at any time you can say, I'm not playing your game, system. And as soon as you understand the potential of no, and yes, sometimes the system is the screaming temper tantrum kid in the corner you can't ignore, or sometimes it's not my kid and I can move on.
Got it. Another question that I have for you is, often I hear you and callers talk about saging.
Yes.
And how that's an important part of their ceremony. A long time ago, I had read about cedar, that cedar clears, sage blesses the energy in a space. Can you give me your thoughts on that? Because for some reason, I feel really called to cedar more than I do sage.
Okay, so there are an infinite amount of ideologies and beliefs. It's actually the smoke that creates the clearing process. Anything that was a plant medicine that has been dried, that is turning into a smoke, is meant to imprint it into an environment, and it has some affinity-based qualities that are on top of our intention. So it's the smoke itself that your intentions and magic go into, that blend into the many layers of the uni-reality that is the place that you're trying to smoke out. Sage, cedar. So is cedar more clearing? It can be. It all depends on the quality of the plant or the quality of what you're using, how much resin's in it. One of the reasons people choose sage, white sage, purple sage, whatever sage it is that they're going to use, is because the resin is in the smoke. And when the resin is in the smoke, it's very dense and has some very high magical intent-based qualities. So you have a wand that you're holding, that is physicality of it. That wand has energy being transferred to it that isn't a resin, that's going through an embering process, that has the power of fire, that has your belief engine entangled into it, that goes into the smoke, which is the level of your awareness. And inside your awareness, you are projecting, breaking of contracts, vows, and agreements, the methodology of cleansing and clearing a space in an omnidirectional broadcast frequency that isn't just about where your eyes go and where the smoke goes. So when you allow a room to fill up with smoke, and I mean really fill up with smoke and not chintz out on it, there is where you're reaching new levels of magical intuition of what is in the room. There are times that this studio that you see here, there's a green screen that's behind me, and I believe it's a Galaxy, but I could have so much smoke in this space, you couldn't see 6 feet in front of you. That is my intention. Because I'm also dealing with a room that has thousands and thousands of people that are coming to watch the shows through these live cameras. So the smoke quality in here is based off of my level of awareness, meaning I know that constantly people are observing this space. Therefore, I must have my own spiritual hygiene and my own spiritual purpose to close down the portals of the cameras, to close down the people that are bypassing the cameras, and to say, this is the sacred broadcast space. I'm now cleansing and clearing and bringing the effervescence of life here, removing any tants and programs that are left here, and returning energy to those that are giving away their power, for whatever reason, out of a sacred neutral expression. You're going to have to start seeing your saging process as, like, I haven't mopped the floors in 5 weeks. Damn it. Okay?
Yeah.
Is it really a big job? No. But when you're done with it, you see how dirty the water is. That's it.
Okay.
In the beginning, it'll be dirty water. But a week or 2 weeks later, after your second practice, it's a clean floor. Okay? There's a little bit of color to it. This is where your spiritual hygiene says, now I can go to the next level. I've saged the home. Well, let me go and do the 4 corners of my bedroom. It's where you take 4 objects and you put an intense amount of intent-based prayer into them, 1 hour to 2 hours, and then you put those to the 4 corners of your bed. Okay? And you now have a second process in which you'll be able to see how clean your environment is when you're sleeping. They are barometers that assist us to understand. Then the third thing on your spiritual hygiene of practice is the mirror that you see yourself in the morning, where you're taking your morning constitution. For there is where all the entities we have left wait for us.
Yes.
Both good and bad. How many times have you been on the pot in the morning and had a flash of brilliance? Everyone has had it. Everyone. When you keep that mirror and that toilet energetically clean, you have now given yourself a third layer of seeing yourself as a sacred discipline master that can now strategize with the rest of the house. Man, where I cook my food, where I do my laundry, where I park my car, all those become a daily practice, which is no more different than, where did I put my keys? That's right, I put them on a hook over there so I would never lose them. Okay? It's structure. Structure that becomes a background of simpleness. If you can do this as part of your evolving ritual, you will grow leaps and bounds. Leaps and bounds.
I'm shocked that you're even saying this, because I was just, you know how sometimes the housework kind of piles up and you see it and it annoys you, but you procrastinate and it builds up more and blah, 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 blah. I was telling myself, you know, I said, Jennifer, you need to make this part of your, go into meditation as you're doing this, as a daily practice, and focus on, you know, one room at a time.
Yep.
Rather than, because I have a tendency to do that, where it, my intentions are really, really good, but that energy lacks to activate and manifest, make something happen.
That's because you've been operating on such low volumes of energy. You're on microvolts, and your desire is to be on macrovolts.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you do for a job?
I work in early childhood education. My background, my original background, my professional schooling was business and marketing, business administration and marketing, and then I transitioned into early childhood education, which I absolutely love.
That's a big switch from business to early childhood education.
It's a big switch. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was just copying what my mom did and those around me. At 18, I didn't know, you know, which way to go. So
this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to speak to you in the metaphor of a spiritual business plan.
Okay.
This is what I want you to create. Challenge yourself to go into your business energies and transmute everything you've learned about business into spirit. It does transmute. So you're going to be writing a spiritual business plan of self-investment. I'm going to invest into my ceremonies. Sacred hygiene is the first, you know, saging of the house, protection of the four corners of your bed and your bathroom. Okay, those are the first things. If you can invest in that, your higher spirit will invest into you a mystical experience. You're making contracts, vows, and agreements with yourself, not based off of instant gratification, based off of the practice of repetition that creates illumination. The next level to your business plan is each time you have that mystical experience, you will write it down as part of the extenuating contract of experience, creating a chronicle in which your spiritual investment can come in and apply new layers of investment into yourself when you are ready to branch off into franchises of new mystical experiences, such as spiritual journeying. Okay? Sacred pilgrimaging, another franchise of the self that needs the full investment of the sacred disciplines and spiritual hygienes, so you are funded internally from your own projects, so that going forth, solid foundation takes you to the next level of experience. Does this make sense?
Absolutely it does. Wholeheartedly.
Okay. Spiritually investing into yourself. Truly use those business words that make your 3D mind saying triggered, all right, if I don't invest here, my other spiritual investors, which are my guides, guardians, and angels, aren't going to offer it. Offer next investment.
Yeah.
Okay? And the franchises, one is spiritual journeying, pilgrimaging. Spiritual journeying is dreaming and going to places spiritually, and then pilgrimaging to physical places. Those are another franchise that will inevitably become a part of you, as well as the franchise of my own sacred ceremony, where I can be in full spiritual regalia and not have a worry about what anyone else says, because it is the production of myself.
Got it.
Okay?
Got it. That resonates.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you. So there's issues going on with your intestinal tract. What have you been?
Thank you. My gosh, it happened after again, I don't know if this had anything to do with it, but I didn't participate in the eclipse. I felt called not to, because I don't think that energetically I was ready and could handle the energy that comes from it. But ever since then, my stomach has been, when you get sick with a virus or have a touch of the flu and it turns your guts a little bit, I've been having a little bit of that feeling.
Well, there's more going on with you right now.
Okay.
So you're really not processing your protein at all.
Okay.
So what is a standard meal for you like in a week? Just kind of give me a sample.
A standard meal. So like for breakfast, I'll have oatmeal or some type of, high fiber cereal. A little bit, there is one thing I'm doing differently as you're talking. This just popped into my head. I think it's important to say. I never used to eat a lot of dairy. In this last 2 months, I've incorporated it back into my diet, thinking, you know, I'm getting older, I might need a little more calcium. Does that have anything to do with it?
No, no. I think it's candida.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's candida.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's right because I'm overweight, and I have I'll call your last caller really resonated to me as you were talking. I've never smoked, and I do not drink or anything like that, but I have tendencies towards sugar, and I'm overweight, so naturally I'm going to have an abundance of yeast probably going on.
How much overweight are you?
Oh, probably I'm really tall. I'm like 6 feet tall, but probably I could lose to feel healthy, probably 85 pounds.
Okay. So you
have
thyroid issues going on for another thing. Your metabolism is off. So when you were young, let's say 13, 14, 15, when did the height actually come for you? What era of your life where you peaked at your height?
That's when it started, right after 6th grade. So I was 11, and then I just started shooting up drastically. I had my full height by probably the 9th grade.
And when did you
I'm an Amazon.
Yeah, when did you have your first menstrual cycle?
11. It was 6th grade, so however
all
old,
at the same
I think
time.
around 11.
All at the same time. So this is where your DNA body programming is still trying to run you from the past. It's still making you thinking you're growing. And this is actually a traumatic spiritual process for you.
Okay.
Just give me a second.
What?
Hold on. Just
Okay.
give me a second to scan. There's a weave here that I can. Just let me turn this. It's like a kaleidoscope, and if every time you turn it, a little different point of view is here. All right, so what's trapped in your cellular structures is this overwhelming need to eat carbs and sugars because of it's still trying to fuel your growth, because you were supposed to be even taller than you are now. You were supposed to be another 6 inches taller, minimum. That's the giant energy coming out of you. Your DNA, you know, we have giants that live in our world. We have giants in our ancient history. I could say if this was a different frequency of world, you could have easily been 7.5 to 8 feet tall.
I believe it.
Okay? So this isn't really about diet change as much as this is about trauma removal of something in your body demanding food and sugar to grow at a height that the reality wasn't going to allow.
Yeah, I went through a very traumatic event during that time, too, as you're mentioning menstrual cycle. It was the changeover from 6th grade, which was absolutely the most amazing school experience. I just had an awesome teacher, you know, just one of those teachers that really sticks with you. And anyways, and then the transition from leaving that class and then going into junior high was very, very traumatic. I felt like I was being sent off before being ready. And it caused a tremendous amount of anxiety. I mean, like massive. That was the start of my anxiety. Well, maybe not the very start, but it was just pivotal. I mean, it brought me to my knees.
Right. So the trauma removal from this, I think you need to be in a regressed, similar to a past life regression state.
Okay.
Because this is not something you are going to have an instant gratification healing with at all. You could turn the energies off, but it's still echoing through your entire lifetime, through every I am moment that you've been in the past. So you can encompass it as a great concept at which you take the hammer and chisel of your daily life and keep knocking off a big chunk of it every now and then. Okay? So this is where you'll have to create your own document of the hammer and chisel. Today I do this meditation as part of my sacred frequency to pull out the metaphorical hammer and chisel, to get a big chunk off of myself that was run by the DNA, that wanted me to grow too tall, too fast, that created a programs of food desires that has turned and upturned and inverted my metabolism process, which has altered my residual image. I am taking command back of my residual image through my out loud, name it to claim it, sacred prayer ceremony, so that I may craft the being that I know that I am, was, and will be. I go back into my previous frequencies of time with this hammer and chisel until such a time, in no time, that this is not a trauma within me altering my residual image. That's the type of opening prayer that you'll want to use. And then you're going to need to grab pictures of yourself at the various weights and states and heights that you were, and go back to that girl who said, I'm lanky, I'm ugly, I'm this, I'm that, nobody will ever understand me. And begin to say, I am your future self, coming back with the hammer and chisel of the great work of healing the self. And connect to those younger versions of yourself. And you will be able to craft your residual image to the place and position it was supposed to be. Because the overgrowth process in your DNA has altered your residual image, and it's hard for you to see the authentic spirit you coming through the mirror.
Yeah. And I avoid my looks and my heights have brought me a lot of attention. Nothing traumatic, but it brings, you know, now I'm so tall, and I'm animated, you know, and stuff like that. So it I feel that energy from people, but I try to avoid it as much as possible. I've often wondered if I keep extra weight on to avoid being around people for the attention that it brings. You know, does that make sense, or does that sound like
no?
It
does. I just think that is an actual avoidance mechanism answer to avoid the deeper issue.
Okay.
I think you've had that as a prepared answer for so long that there's a deeper answer you're avoiding.
Okay. I needed to hear that. Thank you. Yeah. Okay.
I really think it's your sexuality. I think you're keeping the weight on because you were sexually projected on, no matter how big or small you were, because of your Amazonian size. There was a fantasy that gave you some icky feelings as a young girl.
Okay.
Okay. How overweight were you when you were just about to graduate high school?
Never like anything like this. I didn't start ballooning up until I hit college, but just, you know, and I was an athlete too. So I played basketball.
So you were an Amazonian tall woman that had plenty of sexual fantasies projected upon you.
Yeah, although I was not,
it doesn't matter what you think about yourself. Okay. It's about what others believed about you as their sexuality, sensuality process. And this is something that you should begin to look at. It's not about what I think about myself. It's what do these others think about me, who have a whole different perspective than me. It didn't matter. Even if you were ballooned with the 80 pounds overweight that you think that you are now, there are still men that covet the size, not the girth, because it is a representation of giant energy again.
Yeah.
Okay? Larger than life. Not large in life.
Yeah.
And I think you are a larger than life spirit, and a body that said it had to grow really tall, otherwise you're going to split the proverbial pants when the soul goes in. Okay?
Okay.
Which is, I think, what happened to you. You split your pants and had to stitch them up. And you're still afraid of getting the rest of your soul in your body, and that you may split the pants again. And that's why you're on the journey of crafting the image of the self through sacred discipline and sacred journey. That's why you discovered my material. That's why it's become a match in your awareness now.
Makes sense. Makes total sense. Okay. Andrew, if I could ask you, going back to the thyroid, and also you mentioned the gut, is it something, sometimes when I'm listening to calls, I never know if, do I need medical attention, or what do I need to do about this to correct the problem?
Colon cleansing, preferably a ceremonial, serious expression that says I'm going to try to do either a home 2-week kit, or you're going to go and do 4 to 6 external colonics or home kalimas.
Okay.
Okay.
Have you heard of Smart Cleanse?
Yes. It's a decent system.
Would that be a good start? I'm really a really sensitive person. Like, I mean, if I even take an aspirin, I can almost like feel it doing the work on my body.
Right, because you're highly acidic.
Would that be a good place to start?
It's because you're highly acidic. That's why that's like that. I would say you're at least 3 quarts low on water. Let's just say if you had if you were to be in a metaphorical situation where you had an injury, let's say you fell and broke your leg really bad with a little blood coming out, and they brought you to the hospital, they wouldn't release you until you had three full bags of saline. That's how low you are right now. And your body is creating fat cells to try to store water right now. But the programs of your body, it can't extract water out of your fat cells because the fat cells aren't storing water. They're storing energy for growth spurts that aren't coming.
Is this related to the protein thing too?
Yes.
You mentioned that I wasn't okay.
Yes. So the first thing is you want to get on a let's say the Hilda Clark methods. I mean, she has one that's a 30-day, gut buster.
What's her name? Hilda
Clark.
What did you say?
Hilda Clark.
Okay.
And it's one that's got charcoal and teas and all this other stuff. That's hardcore. You don't have to go to the hardcoreness. Versus a common 2-week colon cleanse kit, that isn't, designed for you to crap your head off for, 3 weeks straight. It's choice here. And then you get to see the difference of what actually means colon cleansing means. Because it'll reveal the candida, it'll reveal all the things that are going on with you, and then you get to make a choice. Conversely, you can go and do 3 colonics and have the same knowledge of what's there. You may not release as much as the 2-week cleanse, but you will have the knowledge of, well, my internal gut health is off at the gallbladder level, the spleen level, the liver needs to release. All of this stuff is backing up in me. What can I do to catch up? A colonic or a home colema is equivalent to 30 morning poops. So most people are backed up 6 months in their colon, in their intestinal tract. That's how much fecal matter is petrified against the walls of the mucus walls of your internal layers. You got to get down to the mucus layer, and that's through repetition with high fiber. So go and do a colonic or 2, and then you can ask the person that's there, what does this stuff mean coming down the tube? Oh, that's candida, that's a parasite, that's just solid food you don't chew. And this is one of the reasons you're not absorbing your food, because you're not chewing enough food, and the acidity of your levels of your intestinal tract can't break down unchewed food. Okay? Got it. So the next thing, it's not really about diet change at all. It's about protein management. Okay? Now,
less carbs, more protein?
No, protein management.
And then on top of what you've already said.
Yeah, protein management is you got to make sure you're getting your 40 grams of protein a day. This is what will get you out of survival mode, and then you'll be able to craft what's going on with the way your body processes food as well as your metabolism. Okay? It generally takes 20 to 25 days of 40 grams of protein a day to get your body out of survival mode. Right now, your body's in survival mode because it's waiting and waiting and waiting for the next growth spurt that's not going to come. And the body thinks every time you have a menstrual cycle, it's a growth spurt, when it isn't. It isn't a body-based growth spurt. It's a spiritual growth spurt. And that's why your metabolism has gotten to you to where you're at right now.
Got it. Makes total sense.
It's not food change, it's protein management. So if you need to go out and get protein bars or protein shakes, you can still eat your normal food, but once you have enough protein, the being 3 quarts low on water will begin to change. You'll be able to absorb a little more and a little more and a little more water. Okay? And I also believe if you're able to do the protein management and do colonics at the same time, let's say you're able to do a batch of 6, 2 in a week for 3 weeks, that would put you 180 morning poops ahead of yourself at 6 months. And you might be able to go the next layer, which is doing ceremonies and rituals such as saging your home, protecting your own bathroom, and doing personal healing rituals on yourself before you do your colonics and after you do your colonics, which are prayers that bless the body, mind, and spirit, uses the focus of yourself to say, I am praying for my internal liver to have a unique release when I go and do the sacred colonic or home kalima, so that the stomach may release its acid levels, so the body, mind, and soul may become in balance with the amount of water that it needs. That's a prayer, a healing prayer for the self. I think not only can you turn this around, but you will set yourself up for some hell of mystical experiences.
Right on. Right on. I'll take it. Is there anything else that you're being called to tell me that I need to know?
When's the last time you've really been in an intimate relationship?
I'm married.
Okay. When's the last time you've really been intimate?
We hit and miss. It's been a couple weeks.
You can't do that anymore.
Okay.
You have to be a taskmaster on yourself, that you need to get cyclical, full orgasmic releases.
Okay.
When's the last time you had a real orgasm? Not a fake. Not a 3 seconds of moany done.
Well, this is kind of embarrassing, but I don't lack in the orgasm department. It's just that my husband and I are, we're kind of hit and miss. We're going through some growth as well. Does that make sense?
No, it does. But I still think there are times that you are believing it's an orgasm and it's not. It's you enabling and fulfilling yourself, not going to the next level, still that avoidance mechanism that's deeper inside you I spoke about before.
Okay.
I think you're about to uncover a lot more. I think you're actually holding yourself back. And part of your body is playing a role, but you're not experiencing the fullness of it. Because if you were, you wouldn't be here where you're at. And that goes out to all the other ladies that are out there too, who think they have a full orgasmic life. If you were, you wouldn't be, where the metaphor of where this caller is at. It would have already healed many of these issues. That's the level of seriousness of what real orgasms do. They give you reflection in yourself to see yourself in the sacredicity of your person, to change, to have mystical experiences. And that's part of your legacy to yourself, that every time you have a mystical sexual experience, that the next time that joyful previous one is waiting for you. And those aren't in your frequency right now waiting for you. That's why I'm saying,
body,
yeah.
The extra weight also kind of blocks me from more initiation.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't?
It doesn't. That's just a mind game you're playing with yourself. That the programs have power, that I'm not sexy, I'm not sensual. You're an Amazonian beast. Own it. Own it.
All right.
All right?
Call
up your lover and say, the Amazonian beast's going to ride you like a horse.
That's too funny.
All right?
Oh, gosh.
Own it.
All right, thank you so much.
Own it. All right, darling. Take it easy. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and play the rainbow meditation right now. So, everyone, sit back, relax, and when we're done with the meditation, I will have some comments about it.
I want you to relax your body, mind, and spirit. I want you to be ready to enter a new state of being where happiness comes from the heart, where the sovereign soul is seated firmly in your throne of your heart, where the pericardium surrounds your soul with the fresh waters of life, where the nervous system is not tied into the brain but tied into the heart, the place where our spark of our soul first came. I want you to contemplate that and understand that it is from the heart in which we say everything, it is from the heart in which we do everything, but our world of separation puts us into the mind. And now I want you to eliminate the world of separation, because this is only a construct a fraud reality created to keep you in a dream world. And now we are going to use your dreaming body in this dreaming world to dream you in another place, another time, another way of being, so we can begin to process who we are and what we are all throughout the various time streams and universes. So this process of deeply relaxing, focus upon your body. Close your eyes. Imagine a deep, soft, blue mist coming around your crown chakra and making a very soft whirlpool. And this soft whirlpool illuminates the left and the right side of the brain. And the left and the right brain become into communication. Multiple little strings reach across the left brain and the right brain, making anchor connections to all the different synapses of your life's path. Allow this spiraling blue mist, creating vortices of water, to go deep into every cellular part of your brain. And let it slowly expand so that all part of your skull and bones of your head are totally saturated in this blue mist. Let it envelop your third eye, your tongue, your nose, your eyes, your medulla, your neck, your chin, your jaw, your teeth, your taste buds, your throat, your epiglottis. Let this energy go down your neck, the straight spine that supports your skull, into your shoulders, into your scapula, down into your trapezoids and elbows, and out your hands. Let it go into your chest and fill every part of your lungs. As this blue mist reaches your sternum and goes to enter the pericardium, that which your seated sovereign power is in, glow your heart green and accept your spirit in. There is a rush of energy from your crown feeding the heart, and there's a downward pulling as literally your vision and your eyes close. Come to see your two eyes looking out your heart, front and back, omnidirectional sight. If it is but a just vague glimpse for you, let it be. And if there is no glimpse, simply let it be. Allow the heart to envelop in green energies this blue mist. The heart begins to act like a prism, expressing all 7 colors to everything that is at the breast level and above. Your entire bust is in the rainbow frequency. Multiple rainbow frequencies create multiple vortices, and these vortices assemble upon your spine, connect into your skull and your brain in perfect communication, and they send a message to the spot in your spine where your heart is. The heart is supported by the spine in all ways, shapes, and forms, and we are healing all damage on the back of the spine that disconnects us from our heart. Call your angelic beings in. Let your spinal column, from the top of your neck to the bottom of your tailbone, be flushed with rainbow energy. Let this rainbow energy create cocooning webs around your intestinal tract, cocooning webs around your internal organs, your spleen, gallbladder, large intestine, small intestine, stomach, liver, kidneys. Saturate them with a cocooning energy. See the webs of dreamtime go around them, thicker and thicker and thicker. Fill that with the rainbow colors. Into your pelvis, into your sacred masculine and feminine. Saturate your legs, your knees, your quads, your calves, your ankles, the tibia, fibia, all of the bones in your feet are rainbow frequencies, rainbow qualities. Let your legs glow in the rainbow frequency. Now that you've extended your awareness to your feet, ask all of your awareness come to the center of your heart. See out of your heart, front and back. This is where sovereignty begins. Whatever mechanical spiritual process you use to get to this level of awareness, here is where we create all programs. Here is where we uncreate all programs. Here is where we allow ourselves to be in sacred space. Here is where everything can be healed, seen, perceived, and understood.
Welcome back, everyone, from that advanced, unique rainbow meditation. I want to thank everyone that has listened. Come back into reality now. Allow yourself the bigger, greater frequency of awareness now. Many of you that are on the verge of wanting to purchase the 6-week online course, today was an example. The 2 callers that called in from 2 different points of view, each on their sacred medicine journey, one at the beginning and one that's been on the journey a long time. Where are you at in your journey? For just $9.97, you'll get 25 hours of teachings that you can go over at your own pace with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Normally, this would cost $10,000 to $15,000 privately to come and learn all the nuances and aspects, and you'll be able to get to do it in the comfort of your own home, at the process and journey that you want, so you may be able to craft your own life. Those that want to go through it fast, you can come to me privately and go through it at the boot camp pace. That's why I chose to make an online course, so that you don't have to force yourself to boot camp it and take it the serious level and lose some of the fun of it. That's part of the journey of the 6-week course, getting the fun out of it. And that's why we're offering the 30-day money-back guarantee. Because there is a fun layer to it that you should recognize right away. And if it's not something for you, all you do is have to give us an email and we'll give you a full refund within the 30 days of your purchase. Is it worth taking a few minutes of your time to check this out, to give yourself space, time to discover the joy of this out loud mystical experience that is your own name it to claim it power grab? The Living the Mystical Life Daily, the online course itself, is over 10 hours with another 15 hours of course bonuses. It's your time today. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll see you in the next webcast.
Each different bubble of reality is true.
A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma.
Nudge, nudge. It's the Holy Grail.
Improvise. Mysterious.
It's counter psychic intelligence.
Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important?
Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.